Not to just fucking toot my own horn about my own ass or anything.
That shit's fat.
But my wife says I got the wagon. Honestly, my wife is enough of this is what it would be like if you lived in prison. Like enough of like, because the amount of times I walk by that woman and just get completely violated.
Actually harassed in your own house.
Essentially, but like at the same time. Like I've never been violated more in my life than on a daily basis with this woman.
I just picture Rye walking by his wife with like a plate of food and she knocks it out of his hands like, pick it up, bitch.
Why is that my life?
Let me see that turd cutter.
I've been nonstop getting bullied by a 5 foot tall woman for the past 7 years. Please send help.
It's like it's sleep time, roomie. I don't want to go to bed.
Well, that's too damn bad.
Is that fucking Holes reference?
I don't want to be digging anymore, Grandpa.
That scene's classic.
Oh my goodness.
The one have you seen that kid from Holes that fucking is on TikTok now?
Yeah.
Zero?
Yeah, he's fucking everywhere. He's like, I'm like, what the hell? And all his brothers look exactly the same. They all look the same. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, me and my brother are obviously related, and we don't even look that fucking close.
I'll be honest, everyone tells me my siblings and I look like twins, so I can't.
Yeah, all people think I'm my brother all the time.
So. Oh, maybe I'm not related. I might even call my dad up and ask him.
You fucking milkman's kid, brother. You better check into that.
That's what they used to always say, because I'm like 6'2", 6'3", and my dad's like 5'9". But this is where it's funny. My grandfather is like 6'6". He's fucking tall as fuck. Big old white dude.
Damn.
He's Irish. He's like 6'6". Yeah, he's tall as shit.
Yeah, people say me and my brother look alike a lot. Like, they confuse us a lot, which I don't get because I don't think we look that similar.
I've seen both of you side by side, and I can't agree with that.
Yeah, I don't understand it, man. People think I'm him all the time, and I think it's because we're like the only 2 Korean guys in town.
I saw this shit today, and it was like
racism.
The thing is, like in the North, people are impatient and tolerant. And in the South, they're intolerant and patient.
And in the West, they're not patient and they're tolerant.
It was basically like in the South, somebody would be like, "No, you take your time." Insert slur here.
Yeah.
In the North, it's like, "Excuse me, what does your friend identify as?" Okay, thank you. Hey, lady, get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah, that video was funny as shit.
That's it. Oh, dude, I was fucking dying. Oh.
Wow.
And then you got California.
Speaking of like weird brother shit, like there's a guy that plays for our not like that kind of weird. There's a guy that plays for our basketball team, the Arkansas. His name's Ricky Council IV, right? So if I tell you this guy, his name is Ricky Council IV, who do you assume his dad is?
Ricky Council III.
No. It skipped a generation, right?
No. His dad is Ricky Council Sr. His 3 older brothers are Ricky Council I, Ricky Council II, and Ricky Council III. He is Ricky Council IV, the fourth in the line of 4 brothers, all named Ricky Council.
And he's the only one that was successful.
The only way that you tell them apart is by calling your kids numbers at that point.
Yeah.
1, 2,
that's
3,
what they call them.
Get your ass in here.
I think that's what they call them, is by their number.
That's insane. Imagine being a number in your own home.
Two baseball players. I think his name is like Brady Fogel or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, they both. I don't think they're in the MLB. Like whatever's just below that, like above college, but like the minor leagues or some shit like that. I don't know. I didn't look that far into it, but apparently, like one day they went viral because these 2 guys look like twins, and they have the same name. Like it was like basically they ended up, because they went viral, they took a DNA test and they had the exact same percentages of like different ancestry and shit.
That's crazy.
And they traced it all back completely. They have zero blood relation. And they, like, you put them side by side, they're like the exact same fucking person.
What
So
was
real life
the one where
doppelganger.
the twins married twins and like they had the exact same DNA as each other? So the brother or the kids are technically like brother and sister, but also cousins.
I did see that.
I was like,
Wow.
the fuck? I sat there for a minute. I'm like, isn't that like illegal? Like, can two people of the same thing get married? It seems kind of weird.
I'll be back after a while. I'm gonna go visit Uncle Dad.
Yeah, they're like
Goddamn.
cousins, but they could also be considered like brothers because their fucking blood is just so close.
Oh yeah,
Which
here
is
we go.
which is why I didn't know. I didn't know that. I didn't know that about twins. I didn't think they're blood. What the hell? Oh,
This
we're
is
watching
that-
something.
Just as that Brady Feigl.
Dude,
Oh,
they
shit,
do
they do
look
look
almost
really close.
exactly alike. That's crazy.
One
They
has a
have
little.
no relation to each other.
Yeah, Brady Feigl has a little bit of longer head, but Brady Feigl has kind of a smaller head.
Dude, yeah, they
And-
definitely look like they could be related.
And they both said like the name Feigl. They know nobody else with that name. It was like
I
this
don't know
whole. It
anyone
was
with
just
that
a
name.
fuck ton of coincidences. It's
They
like
both wear
basically
glasses.
somebody's character creation in the simulation got fucky wucky, and we ended up with two of the same
Doubled
characters.
up.
He made two characters so you could play side by side. Now the only best part would be if they were on the same team.
They're fucking. You know they
That
are.
would have been nuts. Could you imagine just meeting somebody one day that looks exactly like you with the same name and everything? It just so happened you both play on the same baseball team.
Oh, there was that twin there was another one that was kind of weird where this twin they were adopted separately, but one of them like went to a I guess one of them went to a college, but then I guess dropped out. But then the other twin went to the same college. They thought they were the same guy. And so they were like, all his friends were coming up, man, I thought you dropped out. And also they're like crazy shit. And it turned out they were both like brothers or some crazy shit.
So what are you talking about?
I wish I had a twin so bad.
I don't.
Twins run in my biological family. And so like my biological grandma and my biological great aunt are twins. And they say it skips a generation. So everyone thought me and my older sister. So my older sister got held back in first grade because she had cancer. So we grew up in the same grade together, and so we look we look a lot alike. Unlike Monkey and his brother, we actually look like the same person, just different genders. And every week we just basically gaslit everyone around us and told them we were twins just because people said it one day. And I was like, you know what? Let's just keep this going. We like it just got to the point like we would just start making up shit about our family that wasn't true and just tell people at school it was. Like we told everyone that Maglio Ordonez from the Detroit Tigers was our cousin. And just because like that was our running joke, just make shit up about our family that's not true, but convince everyone around us it's true. But yeah, everywhere we went, it was like, are you guys twins? I look nothing like her.
Well, a buddy of mine fucking said he got COVID from a MLB player. He said he met him and got fucking COVID like 6 times. Just to get out of work, so you get the fucking COVID pay. You bastard! You can't do that shit.
We got 10 days of COVID pay with my work, and they forced you to use it if you were off for like so. If you had a runny nose, you're taking the day off, going to take a COVID test, and we're taking one of your COVID days. So it was like you walk outside of our shop and your nose starts running because it's cold out. Well, you're experiencing signs of COVID. You need to go take a test. You're off for the rest of the day.
My work was even worse than that. If you even told them like you were like sick at all, they would force you to get a COVID test, and then they wouldn't pay you until you came back, either positive or negative. So they would basically like let's say I coughed or like I called in. I'm like, hey, I'm not feeling good. Okay, go get COVID tested and let me know your test results. What?
Yep. Don't miss those days. They're getting back into it now that COVID cases are on the rise again.
That's probably just flu shit, if I'm being honest.
I just had COVID actually like a month and a half ago. It was like the the most minor fucking inconvenience to me. Like, it was more inconvenient that they took a week of my vacation time because I was out of COVID pay, and I'm union, but they started a new non-union policy where if you don't have sick days, which as union employees we don't get sick days, then you have to use your vacation time to cover your sick day until you're out of vacation time.
Yeah, they
I
did
get
that shit to
10
us too.
days of vacation a year. And they made me burn 5 on COVID.
Here's a question for you guys: is union worth it? You guys like being under a union?
It just depends, bro.
I'm not unionized, but
never mind then.
If I had a choice, I would say that I would definitely join a union.
Really, I heard it was like a pain in the ass.
Because it depends on the union.
For sure, depends on the union, and I would say like the biggest thing is it depends on who you are as an employee, because if you are the type of guy like, so me, I'm a very much like, I was raised in the above and beyond aspect, and it's something I've been trying to break because I grew up like, if you work for a company, you should have like loyalty to that company, the aspect of like this never say no mentality.
Yeah, same.
So like when I started working at this company, I was working like 80 hours a week because they'd be like, hey, we need you to cover this shift, and I would cancel plans to work because I was like, I can't say no. And in the grand scheme of things, it got me to where I'm at today. I just got a $3.55 raise. Like, I'm feeling good about that. So like, it was worth it in that aspect. But at the same time, I was like out at dinner with my family on several occasions, like at a restaurant, got called, and then we take our food to go and pay the bill right then, and I leave and go straight to work. Like,
I've done the same.
Stupid shit. And so like I do all this above and beyond. I'm at the point now where it feels like I'm doing like 4 other people's jobs, and the 4 people whose jobs I'm doing, up until like this point, we're making the same amount as me. So like they're doing half or a quarter of the amount of work that I'm doing and getting paid the same because we're union.
Mm-hmm.
So in that aspect, like it was like weighing on me. Like, why the fuck am I doing all this extra for no extra money when I can clearly just do this and coast by? But on the other side of that is like, if I fuck up, I have this entire fucking protective system behind me to be like, hey, yo, yeah, he fucked up here, but it also says in his contract that da or whatever. So like, honestly, it depends on what union you're in and what you get. Because we've had some shit union stewards that like have traded away shit of ours during contract negotiations to benefit themselves personally. So like, you trade a 50-cent raise for a $2,000 signing bonus. So the thing about a raise is that stacks for as long as we were with the company. Yeah. Well, the guy was like retiring a year later. So to him, long run wise, $2,000 was worth more than that 50-cent raise over the course of that year. And so he fucked everybody else out of 50 cents an hour. And when you're working, I work like 3,500 hours a year.
Mm-hmm.
So like, that's a lot of fucking money.
Yeah.
So it's just, I don't know. I think in the grand scheme of things, it's good. But you can definitely end up in shitty situations.
I think in general, union is the way to go because at the very least you have representation to help you protect yourself against the company. Because HR is not doing that for you.
No.
Oh, no.
HR is not your friend, to quote a good friend of mine, Trethen.
Yeah. No. HR is there to protect the company, not you.
Yeah.
Like, HR will sit there and dead ass. Like, I can't tell you how many times with even this company that HR sat across from me, lied to my face, and then moved me from that room directly into another room and told a completely different story than what they've said to me. And then when I brought that up, I was written up for sexual harassment. Like, you remember that piece of shit I used to work with that I hated? Like, So like, this dude, one day we had to put a pump down a 20-foot trench inside our landfill to pump water. And the pump weighed about 300 pounds. And we had to carry it down a hill, put it in this cart, and then rig it to a strap, and then 500 feet of 3-inch pipe we had to drag by hand along with the excavator pulling the pump to get it down in this hole. And I showed up to help this guy do the job. And when I showed up, he like fucked off. He stood at the top of the hill and watched me for like 2 hours doing this. And this 60-year-old guy that was working with us ended up coming down and helping me. And he was back. It was 2 weeks back from having a heart attack. So he was like, I thought he was going to die. Like, I looked over at him and I was like, hey, man, are you all right? And he shook his head no and then sat down.
Damn.
So, like, I got pissed and I was like, I went to the boss and I was like, look, dude, I'm not one to be like this, but like, this can't happen. We can't be putting other people at risk because me and this guy got beef. Like, at the end of the day, I don't care about how much you hate me or how much I hate you. Like, if a job needs done, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And they called us into HR and he went in there and was like, I didn't help him because he showed up and was like, yeah, you're a dumbass cocksucker. And they wrote me up for sexual harassment. And I had 3 witnesses that said I never said it, but they said that it was all he said, she said. And because of that, they wrote me up for that. And then they wrote him up for talking about sexual acts at work because he told, like, another thing had come out about him telling stories about fucking his wife all the time, which was like a really weird quirk this guy had. So they didn't even write him up for what we were in there for. I got written up, and now I currently have a sexual harassment thing against me in my permanent record, and I went to get it removed, and our company got bought out, and the HR rep that was getting it removed for me got fired when we were getting bought out, and now nobody else will touch it because there's nobody that was there during the incident left with the company.
Jesus Christ.
So I'm just like, well, that's fucking great. Anybody that looks at my record, I look like an absolute piece of shit, and I didn't even say it to the guy. Like, if I'm gonna sexually harass you, I'm gonna sexually harass you, brother. Like, at least let me do it before you write me up.
Holy shit!
But yeah, that was like the big downfall of me truly hating that man.
So something else I saw. This is I thought was kind of interesting. I guess people are protesting in like France or something, and like they're sitting in the streets, like blocking traffic. And the French dudes didn't really like that too much, and they beat the shit out of these guys for protesting. Do you think protesting should make everyone else's life an inconvenience?
Depends on what the protest is, I guess.
I didn't know what it was. I just saw them get the shit kicked out of them. I gotta look it up. I'll look up and see what it's about. It's probably
most
stupid.
Protests, I would lean towards yes. Like I feel like by protesting, the whole point is to kind of be an inconvenience, allow enough inconvenience that something happens.
I just don't think it should be inconveniencing other people who have shit to do.
Well, I'll counter that with a real world example.
They're protesting against the cost of living.
Okay, so for this specific example, then, like, if the cost of living has gotten to a point that it's an inconvenience to me personally, then I feel like, well, okay, not just me, but me and a large group of people, then I feel like it's justified to be inconvenient to enough people that somebody decides to say, hey, maybe we should do something about the cost of living.
And how would you feel if someone got out of the car and kicked you in the head?
Let me show you how I
feel. because the way I see it is, okay, I get you're having a bad day, but why the fuck you're making, me risking my job? Let's say I've been late to work 8 times, I'm getting written up twice already, and like I'm trying to get to work, and you're like, oh, by the way, I'm blocking the street. So now I'm gonna lose my fucking job because you're being a fucking cunt.
See, now in this specific one, like, blocking the street seems like an overt inconvenience to people that really have nothing to do with the cost of living.
So what I was saying is, like, I don't have anything against protesting. Protest, whatever the fuck you want. Just don't make it inconvenience everybody else.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a hard question, you know,
Let's go
because
to
we were
a
talking
building.
about that earlier. You know, like you have a right to freely travel or whatever. So, at what point does your right to protest supersede someone's right to travel? Like
Yeah.
that's actually kind of a good question.
Because like let's say if I was gonna protest something, like let's say I'm bitching about the cost of living, what I would do in this case, it looks like they did some of that as well, where they did walkouts. Inconvenience the company. Don't inconvenience people who are trying to live their lives. Or let's say you have to go to the hospital and you're blocking the fucking streets and fucking ambulance is trying to go by and they can't. Someone's fucking dying in the back of a police or a back of a fucking ambulance or wherever the fuck.
I would almost say this is like a case by case sort of thing because
I
so like
just
for me, when there were a lot of protests going on, was it last year or the year before, and there was like several riots breaking out and
Mhm.
stuff, and you heard stories about like like mom and pop shop businesses having their entire storefront and the insides of their stores destroyed.
That's all
To
insurance though.
me, it was like, okay, if that specific business did not have something like a hand in whatever you're protesting about,
Hmm.
that seems kind of fucked up to me. But
Yeah,
at the
I
same
agree.
time, if whatever you're protesting about has become such a like a concern large enough that you feel like you need to go and ravage a city,
Hmm.
let
But
me get my battle gear. No.
the thing is why do it to the city if the people that are doing the issues is the government? Wouldn't it make more sense to target government buildings?
Well, that's when you get shot at.
Yeah, that's like
So
yeah.
I mean, if I owned a business and you're trying to break into that bitch, I'm gonna take some shots at you too. So I mean, I'm gonna defend my shit. That's my right. I can defend my property. Maybe not in California, but I'm gonna defend myself. I'm gonna defend my right. I'm gonna defend my property. You breaking into my building, I feel like you're attacking me. So
Yeah, that's a hard one because I don't know. There's a ton of different ways I could see it, but at the same time, like America as a nation kind of has a track record of if we can't get what we believe is right,
We'll just fuck
then
stuff
we're
up.
gonna fuck shit up. Yeah.
yeah, but usually America's all the shit was the wars in any way, like the Civil War and all the other wars against our own people was all fought with the government. It wasn't people weren't getting fucking their shit busted in. I guess you know what? No, I'm
I
lying. I'm lying. Let me. I just remembered some shit. I do remember there being some thievery during the Civil War when they needed food. To feed the troops, they were going through and ransacking entire towns. Now that I remember correctly, so I guess you're right.
Well, I mean, I can't attest to how true this is because I haven't done the research myself, so don't quote me on any of this. But when all them files from the CIA were declassified and came out, there a bunch of videos went out of people saying like, yeah, there's stuff in these files about the CIA straight up just gaslighting most of the country back in the day to make them believe certain things
Oh
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
like
and
the
using
MSG
like
thing me and
media
Monkey always talk
outlets
about.
and whatnot. And there were some I saw about them like just testing drugs or chemicals on people,
Yeah.
like just spraying full neighborhoods with an aerosol drug and seeing how the people reacted.
Yeah,
And like
they still do that.
I saw this thing the other day, and I'm gonna say it because I'll take the chance that the government comes after me for this. But they were
Yeah,
saying that during the prohibition, the government poisoned alcohol. So there were like all these people drinking alcohol illegally and dying. And
legally
so
or
I'm just
illegally?
saying, so during the prohibition, alcohol was illegal. So they were
Yeah.
illegally drinking, and it was
Okay.
poisoned alcohol.
I heard legally drinking. My
No, no,
bad.
no. So illegally, and I saw this thing. And it was like, so we still going to sit here and act like it's probably not the government putting all the fentanyl in the drugs? And
Oh
I
Well,
was
yeah.
no,
like,
during like the 60s and 70s to fund the war, there were the CIA and the FBI were releasing drugs into poor neighborhoods so they could fund that shit.
I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but some of these motherfuckers making
Oh
some real
no,
good
no,
points.
that's what everyone was always saying is like the scariest thing to hear from the government is to say, "Here, we're here to help." Yeah, like the government's not here to help; they're here to make sure shit runs.
Yeah, deal with the devil there.
Now who they fuck and who whatever the hell they do and whatever they're screwing over or whatever you want to call it. It means it's
the
nothing
fucking
to 'em.
Rothschild, man. They're running
One of them just died, actually. You believe it or not, one of the Rothschilds, I think one of them just died recently. Like the main person who was alive. Who was it? Child dies. Which one was it? Fuck. Who was it? One of them just died. It was all over the news. And one of my bosses is like a huge what do they call them? The people that like believe everything, like don't believe everything. A conspiracyist, or whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
And he said now that one of the Rothschilds died, all the other big families are going to fight over control of the world.
I wouldn't be surprised. Honestly, I'm just waiting for a Rothschild to die, leave like a lonely old woman that has a thing for like white dudes with weird body frames and average size wieners, and so that way I can get in and get that hookup.
So the person who died was Evelyn D. Rothschild, and he's a dude, but that's a weird name for a man. But
was he married?
I would assume so. He's
Is she alive?
I can look it up.
Have her contact information.
I can probably get it for you. Give me 1 second.
Oh my god.
Oh, which one? The one that he married that was like it looks like she's in her 20s?
Honestly, that's just better for me. So
really Lynn Foster D. Rothschild.
So your boss is one of those conspiracy. He's probably on that Kanye train then.
Well, no, he's on the. He thinks Kanye's a fucking idiot too. But
that's really weird because based on what you just said about him, he would agree with a lot of what he's saying.
What do you mean?
Because the whole Rothschild conspiracy is rooted in anti-Semitism. Like the whole reason why people hate that family is because they're Jewish.
I thought the reason he hates them is because he believes that they control the entire world.
Yes, but
I don't think it has anything to do with him being a Jew or not.
Yes, it does, because all those conspiracy theories have to end with the Jews control everything. All of those conspiracies end there. That's why it's such a big deal that Nick Fuentes is running his campaign with him, is because he's a fucking neo-Nazi.
Oh, I don't know if that's what he was getting at, but that's what he told me. He's like, yeah, they run the entire...
Bro,
he also believes... Let me explain this. He also believes in lizard people. So, I mean, it's kind of hit or miss.
Okay, I didn't believe that shit until I saw Mark Zuckerberg. And that motherfucker
he looks like a robot. He looks like a robot. I don't know about a lizard, but he definitely looks robotic.
Yeah, the lizard people thing too, though. That's it's another conspiracy theory that's rooted in like deep racism, because the lizard people thing, it coincides with ancient aliens and all that shit, and how Egyptian people couldn't have built the pyramids and blah blah blah. But
no one ever. I saw a joke on.
You know where I'm going. You know where I'm going.
You know Mexicans are good at building shit.
It's like nobody questions who built those. You know.
I saw this shit and it was like, yeah, everybody's sitting here wondering like how the fuck these ancient people built these pyramids scaled off the like where everything multiplied by pi, and it's like. You don't think they could have just used a fucking wheel as a measurement tool?
Yeah. Well, no, something else that was kind of crazy that they were saying, I don't know how true it was, is that the pyramids are set up like in the constellation or some like crazy shit.
Yeah, they point to 3 different stars.
Yeah, and that's what they were like. That's kind of fucking weird because that like what's it called when you're into fucking
astrology?
Space? Yeah, like astrology wasn't even a thing back then. But
oh yeah, it was.
You think so?
Oh, 100%. Man, those people knew shit that we don't know now. Like, there's stuff that was burned in the Library of Alexandria that we'll probably never get back.
Did you hear that they think the Sphinx is a giant library that's underground?
If it is, I don't know why they haven't dug that shit up yet.
Because they tried to, but the Egypts are refusing to let them because they don't want it being damaged.
Hi, Keith. This is a perfect segue because I don't know if you guys have heard about the hundreds of mummies and the Pyramid of an Unknown Queen they unearthed at Saqqara.
I heard something about it, but I didn't look too much into it.
So basically, they have a dig site in Saqqara, Egypt, and they found like all these old tunnels and shit with it was like 300 beautiful coffins from the New Kingdom period, they say.
Wow.
And
300 is a lot.
They opened up some of these coffins and like the mummies were preserved like almost near perfectly. And so like they're having a bunch of breakthroughs in the history of like in Egyptian history in the aspect of like they're finding out this New Kingdom period was like the peak of mummification. It was like when it was at its best. And now they have like this new queen that they can add to the history books as having ruled over Egypt at some point.
That's
For how
fucking
long?
cool.
And I was like reading through this story, kind of prepping it to talk about today, and I started thinking about like at what point in history does it go from grave robbing to archaeology?
50 years.
50? That's it?
Yeah, that's it.
I could go to my great grandpa's grave, dig it up right now, and just be like, no. This is an archaeological dig, sir. I'm gonna need you to.
If your family's as poor as mine is, you're not gonna find much.
Maybe you have to be accredited. I don't know.
Yeah, from what I read, it's about 50 years.
They said they found inside the coffins and tomb shafts, they found various artifacts, including games such as the ancient game of Senet.
I thought you were saying checkers.
A bunch of small figurines, statues of the god Ta Sokar, and even a metal axe found in the hand of an army soldier that was preserved in a sarcophagus.
Metal, that's actually kind of impressive. Did they say what kind of, like, I know it's metal, but like what kind of metal?
They don't say.
Okay, because they were saying like I think they weren't like they had metals, but they didn't have like bronze or some weird shit like that. They weren't able to do. I was kind of curious what kind of metal it was.
It says some coffins had 2 lids, and the most amazing coffin so far was a mask of a young woman made completely of solid gold. And since the discovery of all this, they've determined that the name of this unknown queen, she was named Neith. And there's no historical record of her in anything that they've discovered thus far.
You know what's funny about that is I think Neith is an Egyptian god.
Neith?
Yeah, and it's on Smite. That's the only reason I know.
Neith?
Yeah. She has like a bow and arrow. Yeah. Neith fires a shot that passes through everything. She's actually an Egyptian. I think she's Egyptian. So it's kind of interesting that was her name. But just a little bit of game knowledge.
And the Egyptian Empire lasted for a long ass time.
Yeah, it did.
You know what's crazy is that the Egyptians even had a women government. In the United States still hasn't elected one.
Well, I think too, Egyptians had an entirely different view on the male versus female like social scheme.
Yeah, I think so.
Like I believe, like I'm not an expert by any means, obviously, but I believe like women were held at a higher standard in Egyptian society than they are in even society today.
Wouldn't doubt it.
I don't. I could be completely fucking wrong, but like I have all this weird like knowledge.
I blame OnlyFans for that.
Sometimes shit mixes up, but like I honestly find Egyptian history and like that aspect of things interesting as fuck. And it's so crazy to me that we're just like, yeah, hey, there's all this ancient shit buried here.
They've dug up batteries.
Mm-hmm. Like ancient batteries,
batteries, yeah, and we don't even know what the fuck they were powering with them. Like
we might have known if the Library of Alexandria didn't get burned down.
Like I said, what we got to do is just got to get to that Sphinx.
Because I guess me, because if I could time travel, like fuck going back and like killing Hitler or something. Like I'm going back and learning. I want all the knowledge we don't have. Like I'm gonna go to the libraries. I'm gonna fucking talk to people.
The only issue with going like to Egypt, you being a white man, you would stand out like a fucking sore thumb, dude. White people weren't there.
Oh,
Like, who the fuck's
Egypt
this
had
dude?
had trading and stuff. I'm sure they saw
What,
people
what
that
one was not with Europe?
with Europe. Maybe I don't know.
Let's look it up. I don't know. Let's see if they know. Did Egypt?
I feel like if they did have trading with Europe in that time, it probably wasn't the best relations.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Europe has a track record of being kind of a dickhead when they go to new places.
Although the Egyptians could not always control trades, they certainly tried. Forms with Africa, Europe, and now I guess they did Asia, even Asia. That's actually kind of surprising.
Egypt wasn't like, these massive ancient civilizations weren't isolated from each other.
No. I didn't think they were, but I figured like the boats and stuff at the time, like they wouldn't risk it. But I guess if you need to trade, you need to trade. I don't know how well the boats.
I mean, Europe's really not that far away.
No. I'm not saying so much that. I know there's like I know there's like ways to get over there, but back then it wasn't like you would walk down the street and hey, there's Europe. Yeah. It was like a 6-month fucking travel by boat.
To be fair, to say like I didn't think they'd take the risk. They sent a motherfucker to India and he sailed across the fucking world. So
yeah, the opposite direction.
It's just, I was just like, that's why I was sitting like kind of surprised.
I don't know how prevalent the trade was, but
yeah, that's
I imagine they've seen a white guy or two.
It'd be wild, honestly, is if like you just started like digging up ancient Egyptian shit and you just see like hieroglyphs of just one white man visiting one day dressed in like a leather jacket and jeans with a pair of Timberlands on, fucking. Like very clearly not from that time period. That'd be wild.
Well, what was that one where they had like a Hitler fucking like a Nazi thing, and there was some dude sitting there with like a printed shirt, and they're like printed shirts weren't invented until like.
I think I saw this. It was photoshopped.
Oh, was it photoshopped? God damn it! Why is everything I'm looking up fake?
Larry's on fake news.
I know, I'm on fake news, dude.
All of his news stories are.
So on my cell phone, like the first thing that pops up is like Yahoo, like when you go into the internet, and sometimes I go
you're
through
on Yahoo News.
Yeah, well, it's just like when you go to like Internet Explorer and like it automatically pops up like the first fucking.
You're on Internet Explorer.
Well, it's Chrome, but you get what I'm saying. It's just the internet. The internet fucking shut the fuck up, you bastards.
Larry, we're having a full intervention after the podcast today. This is blasphemous.
I never thought I would look like this. Oh, I guess it's not even Yahoo. It's T-Mobile. It's this. Oh, you can't fucking see it. Jesus.
Okay, so you're on like your provider's homepage.
Yeah,
I got you.
And I just sometimes I go through. It's like trending, world news, this shit, and I saw like all sorts of like dumb shit, and now you guys like make me feel bad.
No, that Megalodon one, I was like, what the fuck? And I looked into it more, and I was like, ah.
My dad's starting to get to the age now where like he'll send me a news story and be like, you see this? It sounds crazy. And I know he hasn't read it because it'll be like one of them like real actual news stories.com.
Yeah.
And it's like some dude made it on HTML with basic coding knowledge. And I'm just like, Dad, look, okay, Dad, listen, if anyone emails you about your credit card info, please don't give that out.
There was no Nigerian prince trying to give you billions of dollars, Dad.
I just want you to hold it. He just wants me to hold it.
I just want you to be safe, Dad. Please.
He seems like a nice young man.
Look, if you have the thought of sending all of your life savings to anybody, send it to me first, and I'll send it to that person. Scam my own dad.
Have you guys been seeing the COVID shit in China?
Yeah, the COVID protests.
They're like, no, they're tying them to fucking like light poles and leaving them there.
Mm-hmm. Crazy shit.
The Bart Simpson again.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy shit there, and then all the shit. Yeah.
I keep forgetting that we have rights and some countries don't. Like they're like people were jumping off of buildings to get out of like being like stuck there because apparently when they close the building they just lock you all up. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I fully believe that like America as a nation is the most out of touch with reality. Like if you take any average person from America and were to question them about like what goes on in the world outside of America, we have the most like crazy misconceptions as to how like the
I
rest of
just
the
think
world
America.
operates.
I think most Americans they say they're not happy, but they're just like we're too. What's the word? We're comfortable, so we don't give a fuck about what's happening in other places. We don't give a shit
I'm gonna keep it.
until it starts bothering us. We don't give a fuck. Like the whole
Yeah, that's
Ukrainian shit, we would not have even fucking known if it wasn't for fucking TikTok.
fair enough.
We wouldn't even know. We wouldn't give a fuck. They could have wiped Ukraine off the fucking map, and we wouldn't have cared. But
Well,
since
even and
somebody
even
posted it on
so,
TikTok, and we liked the president because he's a comedian, now we're like, oh shit, we gotta support Ukraine. That's the
yeah,
only reason we even fucking know about that shit.
but
We wouldn't
even
know.
so, there was like outrage for like a week, and then it completely disappeared off my feed
Uh,
again. Like everyone changed their Twitter profiles to
I,
include the flag for a
yeah,
bit.
for me, I think it was
Everybody
about a
did
month.
this.
About a month, and then it just kind of blooped gone. I never
But
saw
it's
anything
just
else about it.
like right now, like I haven't heard anything about the current
We
states
don't.
of the Ukraine. Every now and then I'll hear something about another Russian bombing
I just
and
don't. I just
civilian
don't.
casualties, etc. And I'm
I
just
just
like,
that's kind of like my input. I think the Americans and us as in general is where we are more worried about what we're fucking doing. We have enough. I think, and that's how
yeah,
I think we should be. Is we should fix the problems we have here before we start trying to fix the fucking world, because that's not our problem right now. We have enough issues going on, and and that's one thing that I do believe in. Don't get me wrong. If there's some sort of like war crimes and shit, we 100% need to get involved in. I completely agree. You know,
well,
hey, we need to help people out. We need to help them out. But in all
my
actuality, we need to
belief
worry
on
about our own
that
shit.
is Americans, maybe not Americans as a whole, but America as a nation has this weird fetish with flexing their military dick of saying like, you know what, we're gonna go here because we can.
Well, I think it's more so. I think you're right about we flex a lot. But I think the reason we do that is that's the only way we keep ourselves safe.
Um,
It's kind of like a lion when someone's trying to fucking poke it, and it's like, hey, back the fuck off! I got teeth. And I think that's kind of what America does, and it's dumb, but at the same time, I think that's what's keeping us safe.
I will go. I don't know who said this quote, but I would.
It's a
It's a quote
president,
I
probably.
enjoy, but along the lines of a ruler that leads by fear is worse than a ruler that leads through respect, or something along those lines. In the aspect of like, you are worse off by keeping everyone afraid of you than you would be to like be friends with as many people as you can be.
I don't think America. That's something else. I don't think America tries to scare other people into submission. I think it's more of a hey, stop what you're fucking doing, or we will get involved. I'm wrong. I guess it is kind of like a threat, huh?
Yeah, I think we do scare the shit out of people. I mean,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
in order for us to start charging people with war crimes, I think we need to stop committing them first.
I would agree with that, Monkey. Holy shit.
So, well,
Yeah.
the issue I have with the whole war crime thing is how are we expected to, like, let's say for instance, like ISIS and those Taliban people or whatever the fuck you want to call them. They have so many fucking names. I don't know all of them, but we have rules of warfare where we can't use certain guns. We don't shoot medics. We don't do this. We don't do that. But then we expect them to do the same thing. That's part of the whole, laws of war. But that's not how it works.
Yeah, but we don't do the same thing. We've been bombing them at their weddings and shit.
Well,
So, I mean,
no. Don't get me wrong. I completely agree. But that's what I'm saying. Is like when that thing was going down, and they fucking just like ambushed them and killed a bunch of our guys, and they dropped the Moab bomb on them.
So this is complete fiction, but I've fallen down into a hole of Reddit writing prompts as of
Oh
late,
shit, Reddit.
and like these writing prompts vary all the time. But basically, somebody would give like a one sentence deal, and then people will write a story about it. And there was
Mhm.
one, and it was like, um, everybody was fine with the way war was conducted in the universe until the humans got involved. And it was a story about how like the humans finally accomplished interstellar travel and
Oh shit.
communication, and they reached out and they were basically like, what are your rules for war?
Everything
And the
goes.
people came back and they were like, we have no fucking rules. And they like were laughing at them, and they reached back out and they proposed like this list of rules, like we don't bomb medical facilities, we don't attack civilians, we don't do this, we don't do that. And in response to that proposal, this alien race showed up, bombed half the planet, and killed most of the human race. And then it was like the humans lied dormant for 15, 20 years. And then one day just showed up at this planet and had invented a disease that was only would only infect this race of alien. And they dropped a few things that started the spread of the disease. And within a full year, the entire planet had been converted into basically, they turned them into rabid creatures. So they lose all form of intelligence.
That sounds like an American thing to
turn
do.
wild. And after they did that, all these other races of aliens started sending communications to Earth agreeing to the terms of war, because they were they had never, the things that humans can come up with that were fucked up was beyond what they could have ever imagined.
Oh yeah,
and that's
100%.
just how I fucking picture the world.
That's literally how people fight in general. We don't play fair. We never did. Like we were bombing during Vietnam. They were just dropping fucking flame, or what are they called, napalm on fucking villages. We don't give a fuck, dude. Those people have never even seen a fucking plane.
I mean, even go all the way back to the Trojan horse.
Oh yeah,
hey, you know what? We got this gift for you, homie. We want to be friends.
I would have set that bitch on fire. But yeah, there was I don't know how true that. This is something that was kind of crazy, and I don't know if you guys heard about this shit. I forgot what country it was. It was either India or it was some fucking country. And I guess the person who was in charge of their defense came out and said that the United States has been talking to aliens and so have other countries, and what they're buying from the world basically is our weapons.
Huh.
That we are in contact with aliens, and we're basically the number one killers in all of the fucking galaxy, basically.
So we've never thought about using a metal-based projectile.
Well, that is extremely effective.
So what they were basically saying was that big fucking planet everyone's scared of that's super advanced with weapons and gonna wipe out the entire solar system. That's us. That's us. And that's what they're saying.
I saw a thing recently. It's not directly tied to this, but talking about the world being a simulation, and that being the reason why we haven't found life outside of Earth. Mm-hmm. And basically, Neil deGrasse Tyson talks about it, and he breaks it down into basically, for the world to be a simulation, what would have happened is humans would evolve to a point that they could create an AI-generated system that would run itself and could create its this own little world, and then that world would grow to the point that it creates AI that can create and build its own world, and that you have this infinite chain of worlds. You have the starting world, and then all these millions of other worlds that have this capability in a chain. And the original thought process was, you can either be, there's this millions to one chance of us being the starting world that just hasn't developed that technology yet, or we are the last world. It's this 50-50 shot. We're either not in a simulation or we are in a simulation. And then he broke it down to be, or it was millions to one or whatever, and then he broke it down to be, it's a 50-50 shot, because either we are the first or we are the ones that haven't yet. And he said basically along the lines of, I'll take a 50-50 shot over there's a 1,000,000% possibility that we are.
That's what a lot. It's kind of crazy. That's what a lot of people are saying now too. A lot of smart people are like, yeah, it's completely possible that we are in a simulation. That I wouldn't doubt it.
But the most insane thing to support that is just the very fact that when we study something or we perceive something, our perception of that thing changes the way it behaves. So in light particles, and we see light we've determined is a wave. And so when light travels, they did a test where they put a bunch of slots in a wall or whatever, and then light passed through it, and it left all these different columns of electrons hitting all these different areas. And then they went back in, conducted the test again, but they put a sensor in to determine what was happening to these electrons that would make it like basically split and act in that way. And when they set up a monitoring device, the electrons completely changed the way they acted and started acting as a
Particle.
it's not a wave. As a particle. Yeah. So like instead of all these different lines, they had 2 lines. And the act of measuring that occurrence caused that change. So people were saying it's like, what is it, quantum physics or something like that? And it's like basically you observing something, the pure fact that you're observing it has an effect on how it behaves. So like it's in the aspect of like they just, I saw a video, I think it was from a while ago, where they had like a piece of metal, they built a device that would basically allow this metal to float in space. And then they did something to interact with it, and the metal was both vibrating and not vibrating at the exact same time because of the observation that was being, like, that was happening. So, like, they were basically saying, like, this piece was vibrating while we weren't observing it, but as we were observing it, it was also not vibrating. So it was in movement and not in movement at the exact same time, which is just mind-boggling to even try to wrap your head around.
Well, something else that was kind of crazy that I also read, it might be fake, with my luck, was the what's that thing called? Monkey, you're smart with the shit. The Hadron Collider, or what the fuck it was?
The Large Hadron Collider, yeah.
Yeah. So they were saying that it was completely possible that when we used it, I guess when they used it, it was splitting atoms, or like a really tiny scale. I guess I don't know the words exactly. But they said that it basically chucked us into another dimension, killing off like half of us, but swapping us out. And that they were going to do it again here soon. They were going to try to use it again.
They're already using it. No, I mean, I don't think that's at all possible. No, really? No. All they're doing is splitting particles so that they can observe the individual particles that make up that particle. They're looking at subatomic particles right now. That's literally all they're doing.
I don't know. I just saw something about it like yesterday, and I was like, "That's kind of fucking weird."
I don't think that they can actually open up a portal or anything. What they're trying to do is they're trying to observe dark matter right now.
Oh, that could be fun. You fucking make a fucking black hole.
No, dark matter. If what they think dark matter, if what they think dark matter is true, then dark matter is all around us all the time anyway. But it's one of those things that's just, it's not clearly observable. But they have a good idea that it exists based on the way that galaxies rotate.
So it's just gravity?
No. Because what they're seeing, what you see in the rotation of a galaxy is that you're seeing that the outer arms of a galaxy spin at the same rate that the inner arms do. But based on everything that we know about physics, the inner part of a galaxy should be spinning faster because it's closer to the larger gravity pulls in the center of the galaxy. But based on our observations, everything's spinning at the same rate. So there's only 2 conclusions. It's either we don't know shit about physics and everything that we know is wrong, or there's a large masses of dark matter that exists that also affect the way that gravity works on the outer edges of galactic formations in order for them to move the way they do.
I saw something the other day about the Large Hadron Collider. So they have the highest recorded temperature at 2 trillion Kelvin.
That's fucking crazy.
To put that into perspective,
melts the rock.
The center of the sun is thought to be about 27 million degrees Fahrenheit, and 2 trillion Kelvin is 3599999999999995540.3 Fahrenheit.
Jesus.
Very hot.
Basically, they sent 2 lead nuclei at nearly light speed, and when they collided, they produced the 4th state of matter of ionized. It was made of ionized gas and is like this hot plasma. They call it like
Plasma.
And how do you contain
gluon.
that?
That's what I was curious about. Is what do we have that can support a temperature that high? That sounds insane to me.
It all dissipates. Like
Yeah,
whenever because you got to think all they're colliding are literally just atomic particles, right? So whenever the atomic particles like break apart, they just dissipate. They're gone after a minute. That's why it took so long for us to find the Higgs boson, is because every time they were successful in busting a particle open, the Higgs boson would be there for a split second and then it disappeared.
And then on the complete other side of that, because I saw these at the same time, they talked about the coldest temperature that was ever recorded, and it was -88.
Jesus.
No, never mind. This is not correct.
I was like,
it was it was close to absolute zero.
Mm.
And so they said, like what I was reading on, they said that at absolute zero, which is a 0 Kelvin, you can take light and pour it like a liquid into a glass.
That's crazy.
That's how fucking cold. Basically, at absolute zero, all motion stops. So like all movement of atoms in the universe stops. So we're like, I believe the general premise is at every given moment your atoms are vibrating at a certain frequency, and all that vibration immediately stops, and light is moving at such a speed that it changes states of matter to being this wave into a liquid, which
That's
is
fucking wild.
So now what we got to do is figure out what temperature keeps people immortal forever. You just live.
Absolute zero.
You're living at absolute zero.
I'm pretty sure you instantly die at absolute zero.
100%. I'm just talking out of my ass.
Like dead ass, people are dying in 40-degree weather. I don't think we're built for
fucking 40-degree weather. We're cooking people down here at 120.
Shit.
I mean,
that's fucking hot, dude.
Oh, dude, it gets fucking hot. Arizona, man, you lived here.
Yeah, but I lived in the mountains though, man.
Oh, dude, it gets like 115, 120 fucking pretty constantly. And the homeless people out here just fucking cook.
Like global warming and just the general pollution of the planet, we're currently like experiencing the 6th mass extinction.
Humans are the mass extinction.
It's like known as like the Holocene extinction, and it's basically because due to deforestation and shit, we've killed off so many different families of bacteria, fungi, plants, animals, etc., to the point that now it's starting to be considered a mass extinction, and it's to the point that a vast majority of the species that have gone extinct already went extinct before we could ever even discover what they were.
Oh, wow. That's actually insane. So who do we blame for that? Do we blame the people who aren't woke?
Probably corporations.
I don't know. I mean, I guess you're right. I guess it's some way, somehow, it would be in a corporation. But it would probably be smaller firms in like fucking countries that don't have the same kind of regulations that, other countries have. That was kind of weird, and it's probably pretty common knowledge. The United States is the only country in the entire world that has national parks.
Have you guys heard about what they've done in Madagascar?
No, the TV show or the actual movie? Because those penguins, man, they get me every time.
My dad was telling me about it, and they've basically removed so many trees, like 80 or 90% of the original forests on Madagascar at this point have been completely removed from the.
But who's removing them? Do we know, or is it just like some assholes going in there with a fucking chainsaw?
People are moving there and like living there.
Really?
Yeah, like it's like turning into like a civilization
So,
like
so, so,
advanced civilizations.
so something I stand behind is, making every country have so many set national parks that with so much square footage, just to preserve, some life. Because like I said before, the United States is the only country in the entire world that has national parks.
I could get behind that.
And
Preserving nature like that?
yeah, I think that should be like a government or like a world rule where like we have so much preserved, so much land that we save just for animals, so much ocean. Like we don't have any ocean preserves. Why don't we have parts of the ocean that people can't fish? So we actually have, some sort of ecosystem left behind.
Well, it's just like, how do you enforce that with other countries?
You send a bunch
similar.
of. You basically just get NATO to send whatever military they have to those locations and enforce the protection of it.
Well, yeah, but then you're going into, so say it's not a NATO ally.
What I'm saying is we just we force everyone to join NATO. That's the only option. No, I'm kidding.
Well,
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
There are some people that really fucking hate us, Larry.
Well, I know, but I think we need to have like the biggest issue I think we have in the world at all is communication. We don't communicate enough. We argue, we fight more than we communicate.
So I recently had this conversation with a couple of the older guys at work, and it's safe to say that my views and their views of the world differ exponentially.
Mm-hmm.
And we had a similar conversation about this in the aspect of global warming. It's like, how could you enforce it? Does because really it doesn't matter what we as a country do. We could cut down our emissions.
I completely agree. I know what you're saying, but I what?
And the point they brought up was like, okay, so compare the population of America to the population of China.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if everybody in America quit using plastic straws, it would have zero effect.
I disagree.
Because you still have this much larger population not having I'm just stating what they said to me.
Oh, I know, I get you.
Point. But they were saying because in China the population is so much larger, if they don't give a shit about the regulations we set, then it means nothing.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree with that. It's not gonna. It won't change overnight, but let's say everyone in America stops eating beef. That means anyone in the United States will probably stop producing beef. That means that beef is not going to be sold to any other countries because we are no longer producing it because no one's eating it. Therefore, no one else has really much option. So let's say we stop buying straws.
We just lost our entire Texas audience because you.
No. I'm just saying in general. But the same thing could be said for straws. Let's say the United States stops buying straws at all. That means factories are going to make less straws, meaning there's going to be less in circulation. So either way, it would overall. It would
assuming that America's.
I'm just.
But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
I'm just saying in general, it would just be less production.
On that same front, I saw a thing and it was basically like.
But here's another issue. I'm sorry, I just thought about this. I don't want to lose it. Let's say, but the thing is, we moved to paper. Think of all the trees we're going to cut down.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be something else you're going to get rid of.
Well, and honestly, I will say I think that paperless is becoming more popular as technology advances. But
what other options do we have?
Like my work has boxes and boxes of documents that they put in and this is no fucking joke, bro. They have an old semi-trailer that's the wheels and the fucking stands have rotted off, and this thing sits on the ground, and they built a staircase going into it to store papers. So they basically take everything from our online, from our computer system, and they print it all off, put them in boxes, and store it.
You know what sucks about that is that's not even probably our company's thing of keeping files. That's probably
it's the state.
It's like corporate or it's like government mandated. Because I was gonna get an FFL, or I'm still probably gonna get one, but my idea was to just keep everything online. But they want you to have the documents in paper as well, so they can just go through a filing cabinet. I'm like, that's fucking insane. What's the difference between the fucking filing cabinet and my fucking computer?
I mean, let's just keep it 100 when Congress gets together to write a new law and they put out a fucking 5,000 page printed document, and they probably print one out and hand them out to every motherfucker in Congress.
200 people.
And you could probably go through that and delete half of them pages because most of it's bullshit anyway.
Yeah.
But no, just fuck it. You know what? Fuck the trees. That's
Yeah,
the American way, Larry.
Well, the thing is, in America, at least we replant the fucking trees. That's part of the law. If you cut a tree down, I think you got to plant 2.
Well,
like replace it.
Yeah, that'd
takes
be great
100
if
fucking
that was
years.
actually happening.
Isn't it? I thought that was part of the law that every time you cut down.
Maybe it is, but I highly doubt. I bet you there's a bunch of loopholes happening with that shit.
For
because
sure,
if we were replanting 2 trees for every 1 tree America cut down,
Mr. Beast is going to save us.
Deforestation issue.
Okay, so I got to go back and look at a couple of things that we said here. So America's not the only country with national parks.
It's not? What other country has national parks?
We actually don't have as many national parks as most countries.
Really? Are they the same thing where they can't build there, they can't hunt there, they can't do shit there?
Yeah, I believe that these are like protected lands and stuff. Australia leads the list with 685 national parks.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I
saw something earlier that said
we're number 8 on the list.
Well, it was either we're the only ones that had it, or we're the ones who invented the idea of having it.
I think it was one of those.
Yeah, it was one of the two, but I wasn't sure. So
I know that.
Well, the thing is, it was kind of funny. Is the reason that they said Teddy Roosevelt did that was because he loved hunting so much that he wanted to have them there because during that time period, people were going out and just killing 500 fucking buffalo, 1,000 buffalo at a time.
We almost had those motherfuckers to extinction.
yeah, so that was part of the reason that they did that. At least that's what they said. I don't know how true that is. It's just, more.
So
more
just to clear that up, United States has 59 national parks, but many other countries also have national parks. I don't know if their laws are the same, but
because the United States, I know you're not allowed to hunt there. You're not allowed to build there. Anything you leave there, you need to take with you.
Now, this is the other thing. This is something you might share with the people you were talking about in terms of CO2 emissions. We actually, per capita, emit more CO2 than China does.
Really?
Yes. But
That's
this is for average people. So, like, the average person in America has a bigger CO2 footprint than most people in China.
I can see that.
They walk everywhere, though.
However, in annual emissions, China does have us beat right now because they've had in the last year or two they've upped their emissions by a lot, and I think it's coal burning in particular.
Not for long. We'll never lose to China.
Well, that's the thing is that their emissions have ramped up in the last couple of years, but we're still beating them by a lot when it comes to how much cumulative CO2 we've put into the atmosphere.
So CO2 that's produced by cows as well, though, right?
Well, cows typically that's methane.
Oh, okay. I know they produce some sort of gas. Yeah, I wasn't sure what it was called.
Carbon dioxide is usually a byproduct of burning shit.
So, we burn that much?
We still have some coal, but we've reduced our carbon footprint by quite a lot.
Okay. Because I know a lot of them were moving to solar, but so Elon Musk, and again, I know you guys don't like him, but But he was saying that what the United States should do is get a bunch of land in California that's not being used and just put a bunch of solar panels out there. Is that a feasible option, or is that just more trash?
If Elon's suggesting it, it's probably trash, but I do agree with the concept. I do think that we should have more renewable ways of doing energy, but I don't know if it's feasible to power the entire country off of a solar grid in California.
Well, we're talking about I think it was 100 fucking million acres or some crazy shit.
Oh, like fucking giant patch of land. That would be insane.
Just one giant patch of land that was government funded.
No, what he's trying to do is he's trying to use the power of the sun to build a super laser that we aim off of the planet Earth.
And aim it at other planets we plan on taking over.
This dude is literally becoming a fucking supervillain, bro.
You know who else? You know who else they said that about? They said Jeff Bezos did the same thing. That his wife leaving him was his origin story, and now he's all ripped and shit now, or some crazy shit.
Oh, dude, he is jacked now
because he built a rocket shaped like a penis, bro. That's the only reason.
All rockets are shaped like penises.
Speaking of that, I got a joke. All right, so this guy, he joined the Navy and he got on a ship. and he gone on. He's a low ranking guy or whatever. So his first job was to peel potatoes.
Oh hell yeah!
So he gets on the ship and he's looking around. And everything looks really good, but then he started to realize that every potato that he saw on the ship was shaped like a penis. And he's like, I don't understand this. This is weird. And literally every single potato that he came across the ship like a penis. And finally, he couldn't take it anymore, so he goes to the captain. And he says, Captain, I just can't handle this. Like, every potato on the ship is shaped like a penis. And his captain just shook his head and said, well, there's nothing we're going to be able to do about that, son. This is a dictatorship.
I hate you for that. I hate you for that. You're a bastard.
That's a bad joke if I ever heard one.
It's another one I saw on TikTok that fucking had me dying for a while. I didn't know where it was going. This is a dictatorship.
God damn it.
I don't got any good jokes, man.
The best one I got is, you know the difference between a hamburger and a hard-on? Yes or no?
No.
Well, then let's have lunch.
Yeah.
Stupid.
It is stupid.
So I've been wanting to go and do like a comedy thing because I want to try it out. But I had this fucking joke. You guys ever fucking passed out facing and you wake up facing a wall and you don't know where the fuck you're at?
No.
I woke up and not knowing where I was at for a second, but never facing a wall.
No. So I have my bed against the wall and I sleep on that side, on the wall side, because my girlfriend refuses to sit on that side. So I sleep on that side. So sometimes I roll over and I'll wake up and I'll be like this close to the fucking wall. But where the fuck am I? And I think someone kidnapped me in my fucking sleep for a good 30 seconds. So my joke was that was the start of the joke. My joke was I'm a big dude and diabetes runs in my family. So I would hate for my legs to get cut off like a diabetic thing, and then wake up where the fuck are my legs? Looking for them, thinking forgetting that I was fucking diabetic and lost my legs.
That is morbid.
And I was like, that was funny. I was like, this is a good joke. My brother just shot it down so bad. I'm like, fuck you.
At least your brother is honest with you.
I thought it was funny. I was this is funny. And he's like, it's not funny. I'm like, I laughed.
You're going to have to find a comedy club that caters to people exactly like you.
I have dark jokes, man. I have dark jokes.
I don't even think it's necessarily that it's dark. It's just that your experience is so different from most people's.
I thought it was a common fucking thing. You guys just fucking made me feel stupid.
No, you're just rare, dude. That's all.
You're just rare.
That's a new one. It's you're not slow. You're just rare.
You're just a limited edition skin, Larry. That's all good.
You only come out once a year, man. You're fine.
You ever woke up facing a wall, not knowing where you're at? No,
I get never in my life. That's fucking crazy. Dude, I do that so much.
Dude,
that so much.
That kind of joke.
Where the fuck?
That kind of joke is funny though.
Opposite.
That kind of joke is funny though.
Or your legs
just did that for fucking.
Or your legs, or your legs you don't feel or you don't have legs and you try to jump up out of bed, you just fall on the floor.
Okay, that's dark. That is fucking dark.
So, I think that's funny as shit. How most comics they try to do the whole relatable thing. I think it's also I also think it's funny when you go the opposite route when you say something have you ever had and then you list off something hyper specific.
Dude, so something else. This is okay. Yeah. So now that you brought that up, I had some jokes that were hyper specific to me too. You ever got into a knife fight with your aunt? You ever gotten a knife fight with your aunt over a fucking bed you were supposed to throw out?
Okay, I would laugh at that. That.
No, so it actually happened. That was me and my aunt got into a bit of an argument. She's a tweaker, and I just got a new mattress because the one I had got old and it kind of when you get the spring mattress, eventually they start kind of getting fucked up. So I pulled it out and I put it in the hallway, but I work for a living, unlike her. So I was working Monday through Friday, and I was gonna get rid of it on Saturday. So I come home with Jack in a Box, at like 3 in the fucking morning because that's all it's fucking open. And she's bitching. She's already like she's a tweaker, so she's always bitching about something. And she was like, "Yeah, well, man, fuck you and fuck this. I'm the only man in this house." And I'm like, "You're what? I'm like, what are you talking about?" I'm like, I'm confused as fuck because I just got off a 12-hour shift to come home and argue with a tweaker. And I'm sitting there like, what? What the fuck are you talking about? And she's like, "Yeah, you can get rid of your fucking cushion." I'm like, "It's fucking Thursday." I said, "I don't get off till Friday. I sleep all day and then go to work. And then I come home, eat, and then go to bed, and then go to work the following fucking day. I was going to get rid of it when I was off." Right? And she's like, "Well, fuck you and this and that." So I was like, "All right, you know what? Whatever, fuck you." And I close my door. And she pulls a fucking knife out on me. I'm like, "Are you fucking kidding me?" And we had a knife fight in the fucking hallway.
Did you kill her?
No, she's fine. She went to jail.
I love the casual shade he threw at the beginning, just like not that, and she doesn't.
No, she doesn't. So something else she would do is like I'd be sleeping during the day, and she would come to my fucking door and start banging on my door at like fucking like 12 or like 6 o'clock in the morning, depending on like whatever the fuck she needed, and she would hit me up for money. I'm like, I gotta like sleep to make the money, right? Like I can't just like go to work without sleep and get fired.
Well, she's a tweaker. She assumed everyone stayed up 24/7.
You could smell it, dude. Look, this one time I thought she fucking died, but I didn't want to check. Because we slept. I slept in this room, and she slept on the next room over, and I heard like weird fucking noises, and I was like, "Is she fucking dying?" And I was like, "I don't want to go in there because I don't want to like see this bitch fucking dying, or she invited some fucking dude over, or some like tweaker chick over, or some crazy shit." And I was like, "I don't need this." So I just kind of like just ignored it.
Every day, I'm more and more surprised by what Larry says to me out loud during our podcast recording.
Dude, it's fucking dude. I had some weird fucking times with this crazy chick. Like she would invite like drug dealers into the house when I was sleeping. So I would just hear like grown ass men talking at like fucking 6 o'clock in the morning. It's like, what the
I'll tell you what, tweakers are some of the busiest fucking people you'll ever meet. Like a lot of people say they're lazy because they nap a lot, but when they're awake,
she was stealing shit. So what she was doing is she was using the house I lived in to store her stolen shit, and she was selling it to drug dealers out of the house. Dude, like she had like fucking rims she stole. She had like all sorts of like crazy shit, and she was in jail. So she was in jail for like 20 years because she tried killing somebody. And so she thought like all the old shit she had when she was locked up was still relevant. So she was going to pawn shops and buying all these old ass like computers and shit. And be like, "How much think I can get for this?" I'm like, "Nothing. It's trash." "It's not trash. You know what the fuck you're talking about." Like, okay, that fucking monitor is fucking 6 feet fucking long. That bitch isn't fucking like 6 feet fucking thick. That shit isn't selling.
Nobody uses fucking tubes anymore.
So yeah, me and her used to get into arguments about this dumbest shit.
So, outside of Larry's crazy life, we got some normal questions. How do you guys like your steak done?
Oh, dude, I don't like pink. I cook that shit fucking.
God damn it!
I knew he was gonna say
God
that.
damn it! I knew that Larry was gonna fucking well done.
Something else. I don't like fat either, so I get all that shit cut off. I cut all that shit off.
I can handle some fat being trimmed off, but like, man, if you get a perfectly cooked piece of steak and it's got that little strip of fat on it, that's like one of the best parts for me.
Oh, yeah, dude, I don't like the chewiness of it. It's just so nasty.
Well, if it's done right, it just melts.
Yes, dude. Yeah. Fucking. The older I've gotten, the more I lean towards like a rarer steak.
Medium rare is the normal spot that I'm at. Medium rare, but if it's a really, really, really good cut of meat, I could. We go
to this place. My wife and I, we usually go once a year for our anniversary, and it's like $300 for dinner. But we get a 32-ounce tomahawk steak, and honestly, bro, I order that bitch rare. That bitch come out almost looking like it was mooing, and I've never been happier. Fucking that shit is amazing. But yeah, I'm very much if you cook my steak well done, we got beef, literally.
Oh, dude, I can't eat steak any other way. I cook that shit.
My brother-in-law was like that. and I bullied him so intensely that he now eats steak medium. Because every time I'd cook for him, it got to the point. One day we were making, we bought Wagyu steaks for my grandpa's birthday.
Oh shit! You guys
And-
living up on the high life over there.
My dad likes to flex, and so like my dad's like, yeah, we got to make 3 of these well
Christmas
done. I'm like, 3? And he's like, well, your mom and your grandma won't eat steak anyway, but well done. And then Antonio said he wants his well done. I was like, you can make that dumb motherfucker. I'll do the 2 for my mom and my grandma. I'll take the pain of that. But that dumb motherfucker is either eating that bitch rare or he ain't fucking getting one for me. I'll be damned.
Something else I've seen. I don't know if you guys seen this, but since you brought up Wagyu, you see they're selling Wagyu tallow.
Like just the fat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could see that.
Does that make anything taste better? It's just oil, right? At the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, like if you think about it, like your bacon grease tastes different from like sausage grease or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It just seems kind of weird. Like, do you think it makes something taste more expensive? I figure it just tastes like cooking fat.
If you get high quality beef tallow, definitely has a different flavor from like other kinds of
beef tallow
of fat. Yeah, I mean, I imagine because like your steak will taste different just based on what the cow ate. Like like some of the best steaks you can get are grass fed, grass finished cows.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna pay for it, but
yeah, 100% you're gonna pay for it. But I mean, like your cow will taste different based on what they eat.
They're doing a study right now. Is another thing I had to talk about. We're hitting all my points about cows, but they're trying to see about using hemp as a food source, and they found out that like these cows were eating. So hemp has the similar nutrition to alfalfa when it's dried, and so basically they fed some to cows, and then they fed some to cows that had like a higher THC content. And the cows that ate the hemp with the higher THC content, basically their eyes went red. They started walking funny, and they produced milk with a high THC content.
That's awesome.
Wow!
So they said that the THC left the cow's system a couple days after the cow quit eating hemp, like they switched his diet back, but the THC remained in the milk.
Interesting.
So it was still producing THC milk.
For how long? Was it just permanent?
It didn't go that in depth. Okay. I doubt is a permanent thing, but just as like because THC binds to fat, it's like it's well known for doing that. So it can stay in your system up to 30 days. So I would assume cows they were eating 70 times the amount of THC it would take to get a human high.
Dude, that's wild.
They're making them cows were baked, bro.
They were making weed milk, bro. That's crazy.
I thought you were gonna say like they were getting really fat because they just didn't do anything all day, but like cow eat hemp.
No, I think they said like their activity levels went down. They stopped producing as much milk, and they said the study didn't conduct any of the effect that the milk with the THC would have on humans if they were to drink it. But that basically, because of that aspect, odds are we won't be able to use hemp for like dairy cows. It would have to be a strictly like non-food producing.
Why not? Could you imagine if they made like those hemp or those weed chocolate bars with fucking hemp milk?
Bro.
Oh.
so it's just 100% fuck you.
There's weed in everything. We made the butter from a weed cow.
You know Snoop Dogg's got a few weed cows, bro.
Oh, dude, 100%.
I want a weed cow.
Doesn't Snoop Dogg own a ranch, or am I thinking of someone fucking else?
I wouldn't doubt it, man. Snoop Dogg he's in everything, man. Yeah.
I think he just started like a cereal, a hot dog company. Like he's in the most random shit.
That's a smart
started
thing to do,
doing,
though. Just put your name on fucking everything. Fuck it.
when he did that, was it boxing? I think he did like a commentating on a boxing match, and then ever
He has a
since then,
cookbook.
he's just been in everything. He got with that Martha chick and fucking went brazy.
Well, he was already all over everything. He was on Weeds with what's it? Wiz Khalifa, was that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah, he did that. He was already. That's one of the smart things that Snoop Dogg did, and that's like what other rappers didn't do. Is they all they did was rap, and that's all they fucking did. And eventually, either you're gonna get too old to be doing those damn concerts or whatever. But Snoop Dogg put his fucking face on everything. He's everything. That's the smart thing to fucking do. Sell out.
It is the smart thing, man. Like even like Danny Trejo has his taco places now. He's got like 4 locations. I want to eat at Danny Trejo's tacos, man.
They're expensive. I look at the prices just to get like an idea. And dude, it's expensive.
Yeah,
Tacos are cheap.
You're paying for his name for sure.
Yeah, tacos are cheap. That's like one thing I always like about fucking eating tacos is, do you get that shit for? I can make a whole fucking tray of tacos for like $20.
I made some barbecue pulled pork barbecue tacos.
I was watching. I was looking at what you sent in the chat, and I was like, is that a Christmas tree?
Oh yeah, the picture I sent in our chat, that was I was thinking something about how I'm pretty serious about temping my meat. That's actually just chicken, but
that's chicken. I thought it was steak.
No, that's chicken.
What's the sauce on it? It's like red or is that barbecue sauce? I can't
tell. It's a pan sauce, so it's butter, flour, and chicken stock that I made in the same pan that I seared the chicken in, so it has all the juices and the fond from the chicken that I was using, and then I made that into a sauce. So
you guys want to hear something even more fucked up? You guys think I'm bad about steak? You see how I cook my fucking chicken? That shit is dry as fuck.
Why would you do that to yourself, bro?
Same thing with turkey, dude. I like dry meat. I don't like dark meat either. So I don't eat like I don't eat like
so fucked
it's
up
all
right
it's
now,
all white. It's all white meat. So I eat chicken breast, turkey breast.
There aren't a lot of topics that you'll get me pissed the fuck off
no
about.
Ties, nothing. I like that shit.
Food is one of them, and overcooking chicken. If you feed me overcooked chicken one time, we're not friends anymore. And that's a hill I'll die on. And
I'm never gonna cook for you because everything I cook's overcooked.
Bro, I'm so serious. I'm so serious about my temps, dude. Like I was watching my chicken until it hit exactly 160 degrees and it came out of the oven.
Okay, so see, I don't temp shit. But like, I've overcooked enough food to just kind of like do it by feel, basically. Yeah. Like now, just I've got enough experience of fucking up. Like I used to think that if I put too much salt on something, I could put just a little bit of extra pepper because it was the opposite of salt, and they would just even it out.
Dude, I do something where I wash it. If I put salt, I
wash my meat, but not after I've already started seasoned it.
Oh,
so
dude,
there's a mistake.
No. I'll pull that bitch out the pan. Like, I put too much salt in this bitch and wash it.
You're seasoning your shit in a pan too, Larry?
Oh yeah.
I do it every now and then, but most of the time I hit my shit beforehand.
Nah, that shit gets seasoned in the fucking pan. That shit's already cooking.
Holy shit.
I'm eating cheap ass chicken with some fucking tortillas. I don't think seasoning is gonna fucking affect it.
I promise it will.
It will.
I promise cooking that shit right and seasoning it beautifully will make a difference, brother.
100%.
Dude, they're going into fucking tacos. It's gonna cover it in fucking salsa and cheese anyway.
You wouldn't have to cover it in salsa and cheese.
Shit.
Like
everything I say, I feel like I'm being attacked now. No one gets me.
My wife is making carnitas.
Oh, dude, I love carnitas.
Dude. And let me tell you, like, she does that shit up. I'll eat literally just the fucking carnitas and tortilla, and I'll put nothing on it. And that shit is just... I could nut right now.
So every time I cook, it's so technique driven now because like that's what I want to do is like if I'm gonna make this, even if it's a simple shit like just chicken and rice with a pan sauce and green beans, I want to do it right, you know. Like I was even considering blanching my fucking green beans today because I was just like, you know,
What's
I should.
blanching?
Like it's like when you shock your vegetables so that they stop cooking. You basically just plunge them in an ice bath so that they stop cooking. That way they stay at that perfect stage of cooked.
So do you guys season your steamed vegetables?
100%, yeah.
Oh, dude, I know. I hate those bitches with some rice on the side.
So with that one, it just depends because generally, like if I'm steaming vegetables, it's a cheap, like, oh, we went cheap on groceries this week because money's tight, and
Really,
I bought a
vegetables for
bag
me
of.
are expensive.
Well, like I bought a bag of frozen steamed vegetables on the 10 for 10 deal, and so like it has. Sometimes I'm just pouring vegetables out of plastic bag onto the plate, brother. So, like I can't. I would love to like do what Monkey does,
Sit there
cooking
for
that
fucking
aspect.
7 hours cooking.
Like, but I don't have the motivation. Like
Yeah.
I there's like so many other things that I'd rather do.
Mhm.
So there's times where like my food will definitely hit the lower tier of what it could be because I just didn't try because I didn't have the effort in me.
I'm definitely toning it down a little bit though because I'm having to save my time a little more. So like, there's a few things that I'm doing.
How long does it take you to cook a meal?
Well, it depends on what I'm making. Like
Just
tonight,
like
it only
average.
about an hour. Depends on.
That's not bad.
Like it depends on what I'm making though. Like what I made tonight, just the rice and the chicken and green beans. It was about an hour, roughly.
Okay, that's about as long as it takes me to cook. Get all the shit cut and thrown in the fucking shit. Maybe like 30 minutes.
Well, like I said, it depends on what I'm making. Like I easily could spend 4 to 6 hours doing something if I'm making. Like I think when I made dumplings, it took me like 4 hours because I handmade the dough. I hand stuffed all the dough and crimped everything. I made the filling from scratch and all that. Yeah, it took me
You guys
a
make
while.
me sound like a dirtbag.
No, that sounds amazing, but my biggest problem is like I would get the motivation to do something like
And
that.
just finish it halfway through.
But the first moment where there's a break of I have to wait 5 minutes, I'm downstairs building a shelf. Like I just end up somewhere else. Forget that I was doing any. The amount of times I've left just a pot of shit boiling, and then like, okay, this has to boil, and then I can start this and kind of continue with everything else. And then there's just an empty pot on a fucking burner in my kitchen.
Yeah, out here burning water.
Dude, like I just don't have the. This is what I'm doing. I'm gonna stay focused on this. Like I don't prep shit. I have to be like okay, I know that this will cook faster than this, or this will cook faster than this. So I'll start this now, and then I'll prep the next part. And like I cannot have any breaks in the sequence, or it's gonna be a bad time. Like even on Thanksgiving, we were cooking the turkey. My dad's like, "Hey, I got to run to the store, keep an eye on the turkey." And then he got back from the store like 45 minutes later, and I was like, "Fuck the turkey!" Like it's bad.
Speaking of turkeys, have you guys seen those guys who are like deep frying fucking turkeys and burning their fucking houses down?
Yeah,
that is the funniest shit to watch. Like it specifically says like, do not put it near your fucking house. These dudes are out there, whack.
There's a lot of because the deep frying the turkey thing is another patience thing, right? Because you absolutely have to have it completely thawed. If you don't have your turkey completely thawed, you're gonna fucking blow some shit up. Because frozen and like something that size frozen going into hot grease is not a good combination because it's thawing off all that water like immediately, and then water and hot oil don't mix. You know?
Not at all.
But yeah, I saw that shit and I was like, what the fuck? And people like the whole fucking thing is blowing up, catching flames. Like, what the shit is going on over here?
Yeah, a lot of them are overfilling their stock pots and you know they're dunking their and then they're dunking their turkey way too fast. All that shit, you know.
Well, there was this one where this dude was like putting the turkey in and it fell off the fucking hook and he went to catch that bitch in the oil. I'm like, you're a fucking idiot.
No.
And he ended up burning himself pretty bad.
Oh, yeah, I
I'm
bet.
gone. If it slips off the hook, you'll see me inside peeking through the glass as it falls in the oil. Like, I'm out of there.
Yeah, if I ever do that shit, it's gonna be away from my house.
Yeah. Well, I think that's like the law. Is like you're not allowed to have it near your fucking house. These fucking people are burning their fucking houses down with that shit.
Yeah, dude, I saw a lot of videos about people frying turkeys right on TikTok right around Thanksgiving.
Well,
Yeah.
my favorite stuff to see on TikTok is like 4th of July. All
Oh,
people,
yeah.
like with the people handling way more explosives than they